Hello, welcome to the Unit 2 Part 2 review of fractions, decimals, percents, and ratios. This is the Carlton review. I took and put a little cheat sheet up here just like I did on mine. Just remember that 25%, if you want to make it into a decimal, you just divide by 100 or else you move that decimal back 2 places. Let's see, if you made that into, so now if you have 0.25, you can make that decimal into a fraction bar, put a 0 under each decimal, a 1 in front of the whole mess, and you have now made it into a fraction. And then if you can divide both of these by 4, you can get that down into a fraction in simplest terms of 1/4. Similarly, if you have 0.25 and you want to make that into a percent, you're just going to multiply by 100 or move that decimal 2 places forward and you'll have 25%. You know this information. And because you know it, that's the worst looking set of parentheses I've ever made in my entire life. I have no idea what that is. Because you know that information, you can use that to work on this test. Okay, so we have 3%. Write the following percentages as decimals. Okay, 3%. We'll look at 25% to a decimal. I went back 2, so we're going to do the same thing here. 1, 2. 0.03 is my decimal. 84.1%, 1, 2. So I have 0.841. There we go. 15.5%. I like to use this heart here to kind of think about breaking this up, so I can think about this as 15% plus 1/5%. Make 15 into a decimal, I got 0.15. If I do 1 divided by 5, I can get 0.2, and now I have that decimal. So then I just bring these two, the heart naturally brings them together. As they slide down, we drop that second decimal. And look, you can see it. You can see the 15% right here. There's the 15%, and right behind it is the extra 1/5 or 0.2%. Okay, 345%. Again, here's the decimal, 1, 2, 3.45. Okay, 0.56%. Very tricky, Mrs. Carlton. 0.56%. Same thing. When you make a percent, you move it back. You divide by 100, so you get 0.0056. Yeah, that one's a little tricky. But notice, each time, no matter what the problem, we're moving the decimal back 2 places. We're dividing by 100. Okay, 202.56%. I'm going to use my heart on this one. So we would have 202 over here. That's percent. And then we're adding another 56%. I like just breaking it apart like that. It makes it a little bit easier for me. Well, I would move this 2 places and I'd have 2.02. Now if I take 5 divided by 6 in the calculator, I'm going to get 0.83 repeating. So I'm just going to slide these down. 2.0283. We drop that second decimal. Once again, you can see the 200% right here. You can see the 2% right here. You can see the extra 5/6% right there. If you look about it, you kind of chunk it out. All right, let's keep rolling here. The next target, I can write decimals as percentages. Okay, let's just think about 0.25. Here's decimal. Move it 2 places, and suddenly we have 25%, right? So we'll do the same thing. We have 8%. We have 235%. We have 37.5%. Ooh, tricky. 1, 2. So we have 0.04%. And now you're going to say, oh, that can't be right. I'm just going to call it 4%. No, it's not. We did exactly what we did on every single one. We multiplied by 100. We moved that decimal 2 places to the right. Up here was this, right? This was divide by 100. This is multiply by 100. Okay? What does that mean? Well, it means it's not even a whole percent. It's less than 1%. Yes, that happens. I think that was less than 1%. I think that's what Miss Palinka got on the last science test. Oh no, wait, sorry. Did I say that out loud? All right. I can write the following. I can write ratios as percentages. All right. We had a ratio of 12 cats to 18 dogs. So this is 12 to 18. So I'm going to put cats to dogs. So these are cats, these are dogs. What percentage of the total number of pets was dogs? Well, to get to a percentage, we have to first get to a fraction, then we have to get to a decimal, then we have to get to a percent. All right, so to get to a fraction, you have to have a total. Well, we want to know the total number of pets. There's a total of 30 pets. What percentage of pets were dogs? We have 18 dogs, so it's 18 out of 30. So you just do 18 divided by 30, and you're going to get 0.6. There it is. And we're going to move that 2 places, and we're going to get 60%. So we got 60% dogs. Okay, let's take a look at this other one. We have, I think the most important thing is like how many animals total. That's what you got to figure out. Always have to figure out the total. So for every 15 blue marbles in the bag, there were 23 green marbles. What percentage of the total marbles is made up of green marbles? Okay, again, to get to a percentage, we got to get to a fraction. And then we got to get to a decimal. Finally, we'll get to a percent. All right, so let's do this. So it's 15 to 23. All right, well, we're going to label these green marbles and blue marbles. B and G will work just fine. What percentage of the total marbles is made up of green marbles? Well, this is the easy part, 23. 23 green marbles. We got to add these two together, 15 plus 23, to find out how many total marbles. 830. So this is 23 out of 38. All right, now we've got a fraction. We can get to our decimal. 23 divided by 38 is, she didn't tell us what to round to here, so we got 0.605, 0.605. We're just going to go to, well, let's go 3 decimals. All right, and so as a percent, when we move that, we multiply by 100, we're going to have 60.5%. And I'm rounding here to the 10th of a percent. Okay? Lovely. Take a look at this next page. I think we're going to continue on with that same target. Sylvia made a deal with her aunt to save her lawn mowing money. For every $20 she earns, her aunt would put 8 in the bank. So this is an interesting ratio. It's 20 to 8. This is earned. This is gift. So not bad. For every 20 bucks, she's actually getting to put 28 into the bank. So what percentage of the total amount was her aunt putting into the bank? Again, we've got to get to a fraction, then we can get to a decimal, then we can get to a percent. So her aunt is putting in $8. She's putting in 28. That's the total. So 8 divided by 28. Eight divided by 28 equals 0.2857. 0.2857. Let's go to the nearest 10th of a percent again. So we're going to move this 1, 2. We would have, well, just right up here, we'd have 28.57%. If we're going to the nearest 10th of a percent, that guy there is big enough to change this into 28.6. Remember, 5 and higher, bump it up. 4 and below, you leave it alone. Okay, so this is 28.6%. Sorry, my percent sign was in the wrong spot there. All right, Ahmed grabbed a handful of marbles out of the bin. When he got back to the seat, he realized that there were 4 orange, 5 blue, and 3 brown. What percent of the markers were brown? Well, we got to get to a fraction again. And this is kind of a different situation. He's still got a total of 12 markers here, and 3 of them were brown. We had to add those all up. It is kind of a ratio. It's 4 to 5 to 3. So you can write these as colon signs there. But 3 divided by 12 is 0.25, and we can multiply that by 100, and we get that to 25%. 25% of them were brown. Okie dokie. A couple more targets left here. I can compare rational numbers using inequality signs. We have 6/9 and we have 33.7%. Well, make them all into decimals. So if you do 6 divided by 9 in your calculator, you're going to get 0.6 repeating. Now, I like to put 2 digits down, so I'm going to put 0.66 because, again, most of the time, 2 digits is enough to compare. And I also know a lot about money, just like you do. So let's move this over, and we've got 0.337. So I'm just going to move this down, 0.337. Now let's look at this in terms of money. We've got basically 66% here, and we got a little more than 33 cents over here. Which one is bigger? Obviously this one is. So 6/9 is greater than 33.7%. Okay, over here we have 0.89 and 8.8%. Okay, I know you're going to go, how do you make that in with a decimal? All right, we'll think of 25%. We move it 2 places this way, right? So on 8.8, 1, 2, we're going to have 0.89, and we're going to compare that with 0.088. Again, think about the money here. Got 0.89 there, and we got like 8 cents there. This is obviously bigger. All right, I can order rational numbers. Order the following rational numbers from least to greatest. All right, first thing you want to do is put all these guys into decimals. So let's do that. Make this guy 0.6 repeating. Let's call it 66.66. So again, we can think about money. This guy's already a decimal, 0.678. This guy here is a percent. We'll move it 2 places to make it into a decimal, 0.673. And 4 divided by 5 is 0.8. Again, let's add a 0 on there so we can think about money. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go from least to greatest on here. All right, think about money. What's the least amount of money here? We got 66 cents, 67 cents, 67 cents again, and 80 cents. Easiest is this one right here, 2/3. Okay, the greatest is obviously here, 80.4/5. Now these two here are a little tricky. So now we have to look at these. This is 0.678. This is 0.673. This one is closer to 68 cents than this one. So this one is larger. So 67.3% is going to go here. And over here, this is just 0.678. And you've ordered them. Let's do the same thing here. We have 236%. Let's move that decimal 2, and we'll get this into a decimal. 2.36. This one's already decimal at 3.45. 2 2/3. Well, that's going to be 2.6 repeating. We'll just add that extra 6 on there like I always do. And we have 0.23%. Well, again, 25%, right? We did like this to make it into a decimal, so we have to do this as well. So here, we put 0.23 where we can see it nice and neat. 0.23%. Got a couple placeholders there, so we have 0.0023. Here's the least, here's the greatest. Well, this guy here, I mean, it's not even 1 cent. This is clearly the smallest, and so that was 0.23%, 0.23%. Okay, Well, and it makes sense too, because 1% is 1 cent, right? And this is less than 1 cent, it's less than 1%. The most, it would be this guy right here, 3.45. That's an easy one, $3.45. This one's also pretty big, $2.66 and $2.36. But this one is clearly larger. So this one was 2 2/3, and then this one was $2.36, 236%. Sorry, I'm going to rewrite that, 236%. Okay, let's check it. Less than a cent, $2.36, $2.66, $3.45. Yep, we're looking good, looking real good. All right, thanks for listening.